Now, more with Preston and Steve on 93.3 WMMR.
WMMR is thrilled to the point of nausea to present me, Peter Tork.
That is the first time we've ever had a guest introduce himself. I'm impressed.
I just can't trust you guys.
You know, you're very perceptive. In just that short amount of time, you realize we're incompetent. It's very good.
It was not a no-brainer.
I'm very excited to meet you, Peter.
Which runs right up my alley.
It works out well.
Yeah,
not like mine.
I'm very excited to meet you. I've, as many people in America, a fan of yours as a kid, and you still crank out great music, and you and your band are playing tonight at the Sellersville Theater.
Best name ever.
Shoe Suede Blues. I
Shoe
love
Suede
that.
Blues. Thank you, Steve.
And how long has that band been together?
I don't even know for sure. Something like 13 or 14 years.
Okay,
yeah,
all right,
a little bit more or less. And I can't possibly go on without letting you know that we do some songs from that group I used to belong to.
Yes, yeah.
Which will remain anonymous.
Not for too long.
Monkeys Anonymous.
Monkeys Anonymous.
I tell you what.
Hi, I'm Peter. I'm a recovering monkey. I had a slip last summer.
Did you? You got back on?
I was in the Monkeys again last summer. Yes.
Our old program director. We worked at a modern rock station, and he was a big Monkeys fan, and we all were, because you'd have to sort of explain to people. No, there was a point when you guys were sort of able to let loose. You, a very accomplished musician, took the handles and were able to write your own stuff. And I was a big fan. I have my iPod has a load of Monkey stuff on it.
Great.
You had to sort of fight through to get.
Yeah, we did. We took a lot of shellacking. I got really bent out of shape at the time, although I think it was a mistake now. I see why it had to be the way it was. We were making a TV show. That had to come first. Mm-hmm. And they were making albums, turns out I didn't know how to make a record. I thought I did, but no. So they had to make the records for us for a couple of albums while we made the TV show. And then, and we were on the road playing, we were a cover band playing Monkey songs.
Yeah.
The four of us were a cover band playing
But yet you were a musician, and
as was everybody else, really, one way or another. I mean, Davey was not an instrumentalist, but everybody else played.
Oh, one of your original songs I loved, which was "You Just May Be the One." That's one of my favorite songs. I love that tune. So I mean, the stuff that you guys wrote was great as well.
Yeah, we had some pretty good tunes. The closing theme after the first year.
You wrote that.
I wrote that. Yeah, Pete's Sake, it's called. And it's kind of interesting. I got a girlfriend through that song. She said, "What was that chord?" And I told her, and she said, and her eyes got dreamy.
You dog.
It is. Yeah, great song.
Excellent song. Well, we obviously want to touch on one of the most recent bits of news to come out of the camp of the Monkeys was Davey passing away.
The passing of our dear.
We had spoke to him a couple of years ago because the Daily News here locally ran a Sexy Singles feature.
And he was in the list.
And he lived close enough to here to where they put him on the list. And it was really neat. And he was such a nice guy. And it blew us away, as did you, that he passed at this age. It's just too bad.
Yep, it was sad. I miss him. We're showing we're showing in the studio a picture of the two of us jamming together, cranking on the keyboard, and Josie's cranking on the tambourine. You know, the David Letterman top 10 list had Davy Jones listed as among the top 10 tambourine players of all time at numbers 8 and 3.
8 and 3. It's an unsung hero of the music world. How many instruments do you play?
I count 5.
You count 5?
I can get noises and play some melodies on a lot of others, but that, I wouldn't want to stand up on stage and try to jam on them or anything.
I saw you play banjo one time.
I do that. That's a pretty 5-string banjo is an early instrument of mine. Yeah, I got into the folk thing when I was a younger guy. And
what are the 5?
Pete Seeger things. Keyboards, guitar, 5-string banjo, bass and French horn.
Okay. Is French horn?
Yeah,
how did that work its way in there?
That was my orchestral instrument. In high school they said, well, learn a new instrument, and the teacher was a French horn player, and I always loved the sound.
Yeah.
So I've actually recently decided not to play the French horn anymore, just because I can't keep my lip up and practice my guitar and keep the there's just too many chops
you have to make concessions.
I do. That's right. Compromises as the times weary on, as they.
How difficult is it to play the banjo? I've heard it's it's a tough one to learn?
Well, there's a hump, basically. There's a couple of initial things you have to get over, and after that it gets easy. But it's the same as any other instrument. You play it 5 years, you'll be about 5 times as good as you were when you played it 1 year, and that's true of anything you take up.
I have to ask, in the beginning of the Monkees, was it Bob Rafelson who was
among those? Yeah,
among those who created. We heard
I'm showing video of me on the banjo on the screen. That looks so good.
As the legend goes, we heard people like Stephen Stills auditioned, and do you know what role he was auditioning for, or was it just sort of a general thing?
Well, I actually auditioned for the role of Mickey Dolenz and was rejected.
But
there was a part left at the end of the auditioning. They let me have it.
I assume they were looking for types as opposed to just there was a character, because they weren't.
Not even that. They were looking for 4 guys who together made a gang that they could get. I walked in there and I played the dummy right at the beginning, and they said, "Well, we want an offbeat guy. We got 3 regular guys. We want an offbeat guy. Peter, do you mind being the offbeat guy?"
Yeah.
I said, "Huh." Playing my part to the hilt, right. So it was like that. Mickey was the wild and crazy guy. He's such a freak. He's wild hair. And Jonesy, the cute one, and then Nesmith, sort of a little more upright and dignified, and Yeah. And so they gathered. They weighed all of the guys who got through the process. So there were 8 of us at the end, and they weighed all of them and selected the
combination.
Yeah, the combination. That's how they went about it.
Peter, was it Nesmith's idea to wear that toque, the stocking cap, or did they throw that on him?
I think he came in with it on, and they said, "Can you keep the hat on?" He kept it on until he got sick of it.
Yeah. In the audition, in fact, there's the classic black and white footage of him coming in and sort of just riffing dialogue. Yeah. So out of the gate, It sort of takes off. Here you guys are musicians, being told that you're not musicians. How long did it take before you were able to just finally say, "Okay, can we take a crack at it ourselves"?
2 albums.
Two albums.
Yeah, we had to get the first 2 out of the way. It became quite a bear when the second album, Don Kirshner, throughout the second album, he was in charge of the music.
The legendary Don Kirshner.
The legendary Don Kirshner, yeah. He put the second album out, and we hadn't even heard it. We got it. We heard it first by going across the street and buying it at a JCPenney.
You had to buy your own album to hear it
for the first time.
Wow.
Right, yeah. So that was a little distressing, shall we say? Just a wee bit irksome. And that was and we'd been playing. And here's the thing, we were doing the pilot in '65, and there was a dance scene, and everything felt quiet. And the 4 of us are sitting on a bandstand. We look behind the instrument. We look at the amps. These amps live? Yeah. Click. And we just began to play like Johnny B. Good, and straight rock pop tunes. Never having played together before, ever. Not ever having played together before. And jamming, and all the extras and everybody getting up and dancing around there. And teaching Mickey back, whack, 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 whack.
Yeah.
Mickey learned how to play drums 2-3 days previously.
Really?
And that's all there was to it.
Huh.
And so, there was something about us as a bang of musicians.
Yeah. We just got off a train.
Yeah, just got that worked from the start, from the very get-go. And
was a lot of that the fact that you all liked each other? You all had that synergy.
Well, we had respect for each other as musicians, and I have to say that I liked and loved and respected each of them in different proportions.
Right. Sure.
And but the fact that it was obvious that Mickey everybody's a very gifted guy. I'm often accused of, or I should say, praised as being the only musician in the group. But the truth is, I'm the only trained musician in the group, but I might be the last talent on the gang. I'm telling you, these guys are all splendid. Yeah, they were all. Davy Jones, you hand him a guitar, put your fingers here, he could play that night. Mm-hmm. Davy that's
awesome.
He never dropped a stitch. Probably the best pitch and the best time among us. All that kind of thing, So,
hey, we heard stories of I know Jack Nicholson, I guess, either wrote the screenplay for the movie you guys did, Head.
Bob Rafelson and Jack Nicholson wrote and produced.
Did you become friends with Nicholson?
For a while, yeah.
Yeah.
For a little while. A little while afterwards, he came up the street, and we grinned at each other and had a hug and sat down on a bench, and he started talking left. I started talking right, and we held hands. It was great.
That's how it worked, yeah. We heard some legendary things, too, about on set. I forget whose book or who described it, but kind of a certain like a pit or like a thing you'd get into and to get away from production.
Oh, you're thinking about the steel box. They gave us a refrigerated box. We could indulge in
cannabis.
Related substances. And they had 4 lights on the wall, and when they wanted one of us, the appropriate light went on to, oh God, they want me now, man. I gotta go out there and do my act.
That's wild. Hey, very accommodating.
Peter, are you aware of some of the there are some kids shows that are out, like Big Time Rush, that are very monkey-esque, singing groups and there's some comedy stuff.
Last thing I heard, there was a gang in a show called California Dreams. And
that's years ago, yeah.
Yeah, there's a while, and I haven't seen a thing since then.
Since that, okay.
I watched Charlie Rose. Yeah, MSNBC. That's
right. So with the music, and people may be unfamiliar. Describe what you're into besides
what I'm doing now.
Yeah,
I thought you'd never ask. It's a sort of a mostly blues or a strongly blues influence. We do some straight, real, get down Chicago blues. We do some blues pop. We do some, and we do some monkey songs with a blues tinge. We do Last Train to Clarksville like Black Velvet,
Really?
Take a last train to Clarksville, and I'll meet like that.
Right. Oh, cool.
It's real slow and grindy, oily.
Blues your favorite?
Blues, yeah.
Yeah.
It's always been my favorite. I just didn't think I could do it until 14 or 15 years ago. There's a couple of aspects to the blues. There's an actual skill set, and the notes in the blues are not on the piano. They are elsewhere. They're somewhere in between,
Right.
So I came up playing playing classical music on the piano, and here comes a blues note.
Not a lot of French horn in the blues, right?
No, not French horn in the blues either.
But a lot of bending of notes and stuff like that.
The bending of notes and all that kind of thing, And then there's the cultural and social aspects of the blues. You can't ignore those things, and without that, there is no blues. And how did things get to? And the beat, people. You think if people think it's a triplet beat, you go, but if you do a straight triplet beat, you're doing like salsa marches, dum da dum da dum da 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 da.
You got to swing it a little bit.
Very big difference. Yeah.
Preston's getting into, or just not. You're kind of going on a jazz.
Jazz is the only other music that shares the beat. With blues.
I'm a school musician. I'm a drummer, so I grew up in high school.
I thought that was a tumor sticking out of your back.
No.
Those are sticks, right? Those are drumsticks. Okay.
So I know. I absolutely. But the idea of dragging behind the beat a little bit and
actually
shuffling and stuff.
I had to work it out on a computer. It turns out that the beat is on the money. It's the pickups are early that makes it sound like it's dragging.
Really?
Yep. So
interesting.
So check it out on your computer.
Now, do you do some recording at home?
I do.
It's so easy to do now.
It is, yeah. But you have to. It still is the truth that you cannot make a really good album if you don't have really good. Everything isn't really good. Where I'm at my house, I don't have really good sound. I mean, the room is not a good sounding room. So I do little light things with my voice right next to the mic, so that the room doesn't enter into it. But you still, if you're going to make an album, you still better start off in a professional studio.
The guys you're playing with in the band, have you been playing with them for the whole run, or they've been switched in and out over the years?
It's been a little bit of one from column A and two from column B for years, but we did start off as just 3 of us hanging together and playing whatever we could, and then as the thing began to evolve, people dropped out, others came on board, switched out, and it's been evolutionary, not too much of like here's your money, go away kind of thing. We haven't done that. It really has been a question of getting the guys into the band. Come out tonight. We're going to be at Sellersville tonight.
Sellersville,
yes. Theater, and we'll be at Roots Club 66 in Edgewood the Saturday night and Sunday afternoon. So you want to catch a little of this. Kathy, you talk too much.
I know. I'm actually just a little amazed. I don't know, just the whole legend of it and of you.
I know, yes, I am. It's true.
But honestly, really, we play this game on our iPod where we plug it in and you just see what comes up and we determine whether it's a good song or not. And because of I guess it came up on yours a couple of times ago. I've downloaded
She's
a lot
pointing to Preston.
a lot of your music
for the
now.
visually impaired on radio.
I had Monkeys come up on.
You had to come up and
I think it was you. And you just may be the one was the song. That
and I'm
came
like,
up,
you know what? I didn't have any at the time, and now I have a bunch just because it was like, I don't know. I have it all on there.
Do you see any pennies from that as she downloads some music off of iTunes from the Monkeys?
I'm sure that if the world were fair, I would, but no.
iPod
transfer.